After what felt like forever, Marvel has finally done the impossible. Something original. Werewolf by Night was nothing like how fans expected it to be, and we think it's amazing because of this very reason. The special presentation confirmed a bunch of monsters that are now a part of the MCU canon, and in today's video, we'll be talking all about them. And so let's dive right in. First off, we've got werewolves. This one was obvious. It's in the title after all. Jack Russell has the honor of being the MCU's first official werewolf, though this isn't exactly the first time we've heard of werewolves in the MCU. Earlier, Korg had mentioned that these things existed when he was recounting a story of Thor's adventures with the Guardians of the Galaxy. And many fans thought that Elsa Pataki's cameo in Thor: Love and Thunder was the first time we saw werewolves in the MCU. She portrayed Thor's wolf woman lover, but as it turns out, her character was an alien that just happened to resemble werewolves. Small mix-up. This means that Gabriel Garcia Bernal's Jack is indeed the first time we've seen the scary beast in an MCU movie. Plus, it helps that he follows all the classic rules of being a werewolf. He's a human who's been cursed into the lycanthrope-like creature against his will on nights when the full moon is out. It'll be interesting to see if Russell could be the main character in future MCU projects or if this was just a one-time thing. Considering the fan response to all the interesting creatures we got to see in this unique Marvel presentation was very positive. We don't doubt that Marvel is already working to cash in on the hype. Next, vampires were also confirmed in the TV special. At the start of the TV special, we saw all the characters boasting about the different monsters they had hunted in the past, and Jack was among the hunters. And he mentioned how the vampire that was displayed in Bloodstone Manor was actually killed by him. We got to see a bit more of the monster's lore through the opening credits, which described it as a monstrum alatum, and this is Latin for winged monsters. From the looks of the monster, it's clear the MCU has opted for a more traditional looking creature. It's not like the Dracula or anything you might remember from the Twilight movies. And let's just say, we're glad they went into this direction. Funnily enough, Korg was yet again the character who gave us our first tidbit about vampires. He mentioned them in Thor Ragnarok when talking about how Thor killed 3 of the winged monsters that were grouped together. Hold on while we go back and watch every Korg scene to see what else he's managed to spoil already. For sure, vampires will continue to be a big part of the MCU from this point onwards. And this is because Blade is getting his very own movie, and he's the MCU's go-to vampire hunter. Though, considering that movie's currently in a bit of a sticky situation, we're not exactly sure when we might be able to get more vampire action. Moving on, the next monster on our list are demons. Bloodstone Manor had a bunch of monster heads mounted as trophies, and one that caught the attention of many people was a white-haired head that almost looked like a Wendigo. But the TV special's director, Michael Giacchino, confirmed in an interview that the head actually belongs to Krog. He's a demon with the ability to possess other living things. In the comics, Jack has a small interaction with the powerful demon all the way back in 1973. Despite all of his abilities, the demon proved to be no match for Jack and was quickly taken care of, thanks to Russell's werewolf abilities. We think it's safe to say that the demons in the MCU come in various shapes and sizes. The demon goblins we saw in episode 4 of She-Hulk were quite different from Krog, so they're definitely not taking a one-size-fits-all approach here. It's possible that we'll get to see even more unique demons soon. Next up, Werewolf by Night also confirmed mermaids. Another creature you might have noticed from the opening sequence of the TV special is the iconic mermaid. If you've been seeing one too many Disney movies, you might think of mermaids to be a half-fish, half-human hybrid, and it's just about the most beautiful thing to ever exist. But ancient folklore describes these things as anything but, and it's clear Marvel has taken inspiration from some of the oldest legends. The MCU's mermaid apparently has 2 conjoined heads and is quite hostile. The opening sequence showed a mermaid attacking sailors. Its lore and history seem to be quite unique, and we hope to learn more about it eventually. We should also mention that Bigfoot has also got confirmed. The opening sequence of Werewolf by Night had a bunch of blink and you'll miss it moments. A series of fast-moving illustrations showcased the elusive Sasquatch, or Bigfoot, and this is a mythical creature that's said to reside in North American wilderness. In the opening credits of the movie, we got to see Ulysses Bloodstone kill Bigfoot using the power of the Bloodstone. The creature's head is then later seen mounted at Bloodstone Manor. It's unclear if the one we saw mounted at the manor is the same one that's displayed in the opening sequence, but we wouldn't be surprised if it was. And the sequence also gave us a look at a monster that we think may be the Wendigo. And traditionally, these monsters are described to have deer-like features, but in Marvel Comics, they're pretty similar to Sasquatches and have white fur. Plus, we also got to see reptilians. Another interesting looking trophy seen at Bloodstone Manor is that of a reptile-like creature. It had a horn that resembled that of a rhino, and looking back at historical folklore, there doesn't seem to be anything that closely resembles what was showcased in the MCU. But you could make the argument that this is just another version of a basilisk. Either way, it's clear we've got some type of reptile monster in the MCU now. In the comics, there are a bunch of different reptilian races that this specific monster could be connected to. These include the Snarks, Saurids, Englans, and some others. And who knows, maybe it's supposed to be the MCU's version of Kirk Connors, who's also known as the Lizard. He's a scientist who becomes friends with Ted Sallis, and the two share a very similar fate. Both scientists tested weird experimental serums on themselves and turned them into monsters because of it. Learn more about the Man-Thing and Ted, it's possible that whoever this reptilian is supposed to be will become clear. Not to mention, addition, Werewolf by Night also gave us Gremlins. A monster that had many viewers confused was the Gremlin. Its head was shown as a trophy in Bloodstone Manor. From the looks of it, Marvel's Gremlins are weird goblin-like creatures that have huge eyes and long ears. Much like the reptilians of the MCU, they don't really appear to have any prior folklore or mythological source. Instead, it looks like Marvel has tried to create a unique mix of old and new depictions of the monster. Its uniquely elongated ears and spiky hair are very gremlin-like. Plus, some of the other elements like the giant eyes and tusks could be a reference to traditional Japanese folklore about Namahage. These are demon-like ogres that have been a huge problem for lazy children. Marvel may eventually dive deeper into just what this monster is, but for now, let's just all agree that gremlins are officially part of the MCU. Wrapping up this list, we've got Man-Thing. You don't think we'd end the video without mentioning the Man-Thing, did you? He's a major Marvel character and has had his own comic book storyline since all the way back in 1971. The giant creature's real identity is Theodore Ted Sallis. He's a biochemist who took a dose of an experimental serum, and if you think that was the end of it, think again. He then fell into the Florida Everglades, turning into a weird plant-monster hybrid. This accident might have turned him into a monster forever, but also connected him to the nexus of all realities. And this means that yes, Ted, of all things, has access to any reality in the multiverse. Considering we're currently in the Multiverse Saga in the MCU, we can't help but feel like the Man-Thing might end up playing a big role in the coming movies. And if Ted's there, we're sure his best friend Russell will be joining in on the fun too. In Werewolf by Night, we got to see that the two develop a very friendly relationship with one another. The two help each other out quite a bit, and Jack helps his friend escape from Bloodstone Manor. Man-Thing is depicted to be quite strong physically in the TV special, but we're sure he's got a bunch of multiversal abilities too that will be displayed later on. Seeing Jack and Ted be a chaotically monstrous duo that has even Avengers shaking their heads is a crossover that's waiting to write itself. And that's a wrap for this video. Which of these monsters are you excited to see in the future MC projects? Comment below, give this video a thumbs up, and subscribe to our channel for more videos like this. See you in the next one.